Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Um, First, thank you very much for your prayers. Always appreciated. If you feel like you want to, please continue to pray for my brother Steve. Um, so I wanted to bring you up to speed on what I know now. Yesterday, or that I told you that we were going to be talking to the doctor, which we did. And my sister in law graciously allowed me to be present by phone. She turned on the speaker and whatever so that I could hear what the doctor had to say. And he um, was not super effusive about my brother's chances of long term survival. Um, the, the percentage he gave was 70% don't survive, 30% he might survive for a while. Um, and he's still in the ICU. And one of the things that my sister in law wanted to know was if he should be moved or should he be there. And the doctor seemed to be pressing more for sending him to a nursing facility that was originally she wanted, if he was going to go to a nursing facility, she wanted him to be close to her because she basically doesn't drive anymore and a relative needs to take her. So she thought that would be better if he was closer. And she graciously, we talked about it before we went to the doctor, and we talked about DNRs and giving Steve all the benefit of chance because he's very strong. If you knew my family, you would know that we, all of us, particularly my parents, provided this example. And my brothers were amazing, me less so. I'm independent and I like to do things myself, but I don't feel like I can go to the lengths that everybody else in my family has gone to over the years. My oldest brother, the one we're talking about, is an architect, and he knows how to build things. And when I was a little girl, he would make things for me, like he made this huge bird kite one time, and I was so proud. We got to parade it around the neighborhood, and it was beautiful. He does beautiful work. And then we have a middle brother who is no longer with us. And of course, my parents passed, both of them passed in 2009. So the doctor was not effusive about my brother's chances. He is, as of yesterday, semi-conscious. Has said a couple of words. He said my sister-in-law's name. He said okay. I heard him say okay when the doctor was explaining something to him. So I don't know that he's conscious all the time, but he is doing okay. So on the question of the nursing home, the doctor was pushing for nursing home and comfort care. And my sister-in-law, and I'm glad she did this because she's the only one who can do this, is I don't really have a lot of power in this situation at all. And she made the decision to leave him in the ICU because she felt he would get better care there for now. And I agree. In the ICU, he's going to have IVs and he's going to have much closer attention paid to him. And so I think that was a really good choice. Now, this being the land of what insurance companies will pay for, and they have good insurance. He'll be in the ICU as long as they'll allow him to be there. So we'll have to see. And then the other thing that came out of that meeting was, I was surprised to hear, is that my brother had metastasized melanoma, and he represented it to me that that seemed to be gone, and he'd had tumors in his lungs. And what they had done is he'd been on oral chemotherapy for, was it oral? Probably both. Chemotherapy for years, and then that stopped working, so they put him on a drug called Keytruda, which is supposed to stimulate your immune system. And he had tumors in his lungs. And he told me that the tumors had dissolved. And they had. But what he didn't say was that the Keytruda was just holding the cancer back. It wasn't completely gone from the rest of his body, apparently, because the doctor and my sister-in-law were talking about how, there was this cancer diagnosis and stuff like that. And I think that he's not on the Keytruda right now, and that would mean that that cancer is going to be waking up. So that's not good either. So we'll see how all that works out. Probably not good, but we shall see. Prayers work. So the other thing that happened yesterday was, and this is one of the things that other people can do if they're in the situation where there's a big question about how they arrived, your loved one arrived at the hospital, and that's gotten a little more clear. At my daughter's urging, I texted my sister-in-law yesterday and I said, hey, you can ask the police in your town to put out a search for the car. There's traffic cameras all over, and apparently they have some technology that they can use if you ask them to. They won't volunteer it. Wherein, I'm not sure, but maybe the computer goes through all the images that have been taken in the time period that the person has been missing, and they can find license numbers from the traffic cameras, so they can find them. So apparently she did that, and yesterday afternoon she texted me to say that they found the car. And it's good because it did answer some questions. My sister-in-law, my brother only had the keys from his car in his pocket, and when he got to the first hospital, because then they transferred him from there, apparently the doctor had read this, and my sister-in-law hadn't gotten this information yet, but the doctor said something about a lady saw him stumbling around and called 911. So that's how he got, that seems to be how he got to the first hospital, which was the hospital that was closest to where his car ended up, apparently in a shopping center, or I don't know if it was a strip mall or a big shopping center or whatever. So they found the car, and she sent me a picture of the car. It was in perfect shape. My brother had parked it perfectly, even though he was obviously in a whole lot of hurt. And she said the only thing that wasn't in the car was his glasses. And I don't know if he had his glasses on or if those were on his face and therefore they're not in there. She didn't explain. But his phone and everything, his fanny pack that he wears, checkbook, all that stuff was in the car still. So that was good. So that puts a piece into the puzzle. Now, see, our dad was a policeman, so it's not that I expect, I'm thinking foul play, but I would really like to know what happened, and she does not seem to be so concerned about that. There are things that could be being done, but I'm at a distance, and I can't. She's more willing to tell me, they found the car, and that's all the information, and it had the things that we hoped were in there, and his condition, his physical condition, but she doesn't entertain any other questions, and I don't want to ask a lot of questions that I know she's probably not going to entertain, because I'd like to get some information about my brother. So that's where we are right now. I expect that I'll probably get another text today, or it's nice to have texting, so much simpler. You can talk to each other. People will pick it up when they pick it up, whatever. And she's decided to leave him in ICU, like I said, and I do agree that that's a good idea. And that's where we are today. Other family members on my side of the family, I feel like my brother's family is his wife's family because that's who he has been living with for the past 30 years. And he and my sister-in-law seem to have a really good relationship. I know that he loved her very much, and she's expressing that as well. So I'm very happy about that. And we'll have to see how this all turns out. And I will let you know if I find out any more information about my brother's condition, or if there's any more thought put into how did my brother come upon those injuries. So the doctor did say that those injuries were consistent with a fall. And he did say that there were a couple of cracks in my brother's skull. And so that does seem to be that he fell, but did he fall off the roof? I mean, that's the most simple answer and probably correct, but I might have to wait till I get out there in the spring to talk to. I have the name of a neighbor close by who is involved in feeding my brother's pets and stuff. So I will find him and ask him what he saw, like as in such, for instance, was there a ladder up on the house? Was there a tarp? Was it flapping? Was it intact? Was it all bunched up against the fence because of the wind? I mean, you could imagine a 79-year-old man getting up on a roof and wrestling a big tarp to put over the roof, and it's been rainy and possibly windy. I don't know that for a fact, but you know, the tarp is flying, and I mean, it's actually crazy that he was even up there, if that's the case, which it sounds like it was. So, but you know, he's gonna do it himself. So that might just have cost him his life. I don't know yet. But thank you again. Thank you for your prayers. And that's all I know at the moment. And I will let you know if the story progresses, and when the story progresses, and I will let you know what I know. So thank you very much. Have a good afternoon and evening. Bye-bye.